In today's stand, we got a Klein Quantum Race, which I'm gonna try to get these little scratches out. Ooh. Try to make it a little more like new after this. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin, the guy. Obviously, I have a garage shop. Taking scary how to use bikes one bike at a time.
If you like these videos, please like and subscribe.
Hey, welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hey, I'm Justin, the guy, and we're working on this old bike. Today, we're gonna cover detailing, making pop paint with Adams Polish. And Adams Polish is actually located in Denver, Colorado, and I was turned on to them by a car detailer here locally, Dent Vision. And what they have really helped me is basically make these bike frames pop and beautiful and close to as new as it can be sometimes, and get some of those scratches out. And there's some things that I can't just get it, make go away completely, but it actually makes the bike look a lot better, as well protects the frame. In addition to this particular Klein race has internal cabling. So I'm gonna cover how to address that first, because if you pull those cables out, they drop inside. When it's time to put in a new cable, you better have that sleeve in there. If not, you're gonna be fishing with a magnet for hours. Believe me, done it. It's horrible. So I really make the extra precaution to make sure I have cable sleeves in there before I actually remove the cable completely. So yeah, that is the tricky bit on these, but hey, once they're all completed and put back together, it's a beautiful bike. It doesn't have it has a very extreme clean look to it for internal cable routing. A lot of bikes have that today. This is it back in they started doing it back in the 90s and kind of progressed over the 2000s, and now a lot of the bikes are all internal, or on top of that, they're electric assist, or not electric assist, but electric shifting mechanism. So it eliminates a lot of that kinks and all that kind of things, which is nice. But going back to history, we're gonna work on this guy and show you a couple of tips and tricks, how to adjust those cables, and then do the little detailing. I'll do a section where I have probably a good amount of little scratches, and we'll feature that out. So let's just dive into this. So, internal cable routing, what you want to do is get something like these. These are sleeves that'll fit through the actual DI of the hole, but so the housing, stops are, in addition to, it's not too wide to push through there. So these might be kind of hard to find. I know Park Tools, you might want to check this out. They have a little cable guides kind of kit. I've really never played with one before, so I'm very intrigued. I only do a few of these, so I haven't really invested, let's put it that way, into it. I'm all in about new tools, so I will definitely check that out when I get a chance. But I do have these which work in the interim. But if I didn't have these, I would be very interested in looking at those if I couldn't find these at the hardware store, that kind of deal. So yeah, those. So I got 3 cables. So you got 2 derailleur cables and a brake cable I have to address. So let's take a look at those. Oh, the dramatic look. Oh yeah, this is pretty dramatic. So you don't definitely want these to pop through. I go from the back forward. You can cut the cables on the other end and try to thread them that other direction, but it makes it very, very tricky to do. So going back to what I was talking about on these slips here. So if the cable did drop in there, you would have to use a magnet and try to thread it through. On the bottom, it's not too bad here, but in this brake one, it actually has a stop, and that is going to be a booger to do. So what you do is you're trying to get that in there, and then you just slide that cable through, and as you're doing that, you work on this other end. And hopefully it goes through like that. So what I'm looking at is, actually I got it to go through here. So since I have the sleeve in here now, on both ends in here, now I can pull that cable out and make sure this doesn't drop. So what I do is I take a little bit of painter's tape, which is really good for just all around sticking things. So I tape that, tape that there so it holds in place. Then I grab my next sheet, and you want to make sure these are long enough first so you know you're not going to be short. On to the derailleur. Well, this one has a kink in that's going to be a little issue. I want this to be smooth, so I'm going to cut that like so. And thread this bad guy through like that. So you want it to be, you know, less resistant as possible so it will guide through there. And I take the bottom part as I'm threading that through. I can still feel that cable going through the sleeve and coming to this end over here. It's popped out like so. Now I have both ends, and now I pull that cable out so the sleeve is in place. And I take that tape and tape that down so I don't have to worry about those. So I'm good. So here I got those coming out. So I do detailing. It's gonna have to be a little bit of trick. I will detail around here first, and then I'll move my tape to this end and tape this down. Then I'll detail around here where the gussets are, so I still can get the detailing, but still secure it, because I've done that before. Well, oh, they'll stay in place and it bumps out and you're like, you gotta be kidding me. So those are the derailleur cables, and I usually just tape on one side. Now we're gonna take a look at the brake. So the brake part is a little trickier. So what I do on that one is put a little angle cut when I'm going through. Reason being is sometimes it's a tighter diameter through the brake cable, and threading that through. So hopefully it'll pop out the other end. And if you have a long enough cable in there, that cable can pop out this end. So you can trim this liner as long as it still fits all the way through. So you can grab that other end. This way, you know, sometimes you just kind of wiggle it back and forth, and then I can pull it through. So I got it to pull through the other end. So I got it to go through, and there we go. So I got it on both ends there. Then now I can pull the cable out. The brake on the Kleins are the more important to make sure you have the sleeve in there, because on the other end there's a grommet that when you're putting these in new, you have to be kind of pressed in. That holds the stop for the housing. And if that cable drops inside here, you have to tap out that grommet to get that cable to go through, which is, you end up chipping the paint and all sorts of ugliness happens. So same thing, get some blue tape or any really non-too aggressive tape, painter's tape will work. I heard frog tape works well too. So that wasn't too bad, right? I mean, take a little time, take your time, and prep those and kind of get them all ready. So I can do the detailing in this area here without any kind of worry of dropping those. And once I get up to this section, I'll move the tape back down, and then I could work around this section here, but make sure none of these slide through. So I make sure that tape is secure at all times. I don't try to work around the tape or not without tape at all, because accidents happen. So I just do it in sections. So let's do a little section on this and see if we can get some of these little ugliness addressed and made go away. Oh, thanks for buying me a copy, by the way, the last person that did it. I really appreciate it. So anyhow, the link's below for affiliate. Obviously, I'm not, I'm doing this, and hey, it'd be great if, buy a t-shirt or buy me a cup of coffee. If you get any details out of this, it'd be awesome. Anywho, shameless plug, I am not a paid affiliate, or none of this is paid product presentation. So this is all because I love to work on bikes and I'm sharing my passion. So anywho. Okay, so featuring a new product. Okay, these red pads from Adams are technically supposed to go with this scratch and swirl removal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little section on the back chainstay first to kind of see how this reacts. And we're gonna go from there. And if it does really well, we'll do some of these other sections and we'll do the proceed to add another layer of things to do. So I got this and then a compound, which does really good for the micro scratches. And I'm finishing up with a polish, which makes the frame. So anywho, let's dive into this. All right, hopefully I'm capturing this. Whoa, I got really close there. So, okay, so I'm gonna use the red pad. And for all my other types of stuff, you wanna put just a little bit in here. And you wanna push it into the pad. I don't put a lot in there, so you notice it's not covering the whole pad, because eventually this will distribute outwards, and that cuts down on the splattering. So we're gonna look at this section here, where I got some good scratches here, and I do put a little bit on here. That smells good. And see what it does. So here we go. Test 101. Wow, holy cow, it really smoothed that a lot of stuff out. It does have like a grittier feel to it, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely proceed with a little bit of a 3000 grit pad using the same stuff, just a little bit of it, to get some of these other micro ones out. All right, let's get really close and personal here. So yeah, this doesn't mean I'm gonna get rid of all the scratches, but what it does is I'm able to smooth them down to a point where it's less noticeable and let the paint pop that's around it. So I'm gonna do this one more time real quick to cover this, and I'll proceed to the compound. Ooh, exciting new stuff. So the compound, you can use the blue pad. They color code them, which is pretty awesome. So the blue with the blue. And this applies the actual compound. And there's a kit that's like compound and polish. Then you can buy the other red pads separately. Same kind of concept, right in the middle. It smells pretty good too. So let's do some compound work. All right, since I got that, I'll take the fiber cloth and clean it and see. Really kind of made all those little scratches kind of go away or less noticeable. And here, you know, if you see something that's like, okay, I want to readdress this one and see if I can make it go away, that's where, depending on how thick your clear coat is, that's what we would do. And right now it's really making all the paint around it polish, even though it has some of those micro scratches. It's definitely going to be less noticeable, which is awesome. And there we have a polish with white as white pad. Same thing, just a little bit in the center. Ooh, that might be a little bit too much. Really press that in so it doesn't get splattery everywhere. And that smells good too. So again, on any of these, you want to go light and polite, and I would suggest on your bike you do like underneath part, probably underneath the down tube, do a test to make sure it's, you know, it behaves the way you think it's going to behave, so you're not cutting too much material. So what I like to do is, if I know I have some areas right off the bat, I'll address them immediately, but I'll go through the whole polishing process to even the buffing pad. And then if I do see something that really kind of, I feel like I can get out by using even all the way back to the 3000 grit and start over again, I can do those little sections again to repeat. But I don't want to take out too much material right off the bat. So again, light and polite, and start off slow and, you know, do the polishing. Then you can go back and hit those little areas you feel like you want to really detail and get those scratches out. Take more of a, well, there's a risk. So you want to minimize that risk. So let's buff this out with the pad and see what we got. Well, there we have it, right? So, I mean, this frame has been through a lot, and I feel bad for it, but giving it some love to bring out a lot of that paint. It's going to have a lot of little scratches here and there. Some will be covered up by brake parts, that kind of thing, but everything else you want to really kind of just make go away. And Klein paint is such a high-end paint. Touching up is going to be almost impossible. This person touched up a couple sections of it, bloody ugly. So I'm just going to try to eliminate that and just let the black original primer that's on this frame just sit there, come out. That's probably a better approach than trying to, you know, leaving that ugly paint job. But the remainder of it is just beautiful, and it brings out that painted decal. And, you know, as my mom would say, blemishes let the devils out. So, you know, this one has a lot of devils to release, apparently. But so, other than that, hey, Adam's polishes, this is what it'll do to this, you know, just this small section in just a matter of minutes. Then I'll proceed to do each section, and then I'll do well, once I've done everything, then I'll go over it again in detail and see if there's any other little areas I want to redo. And once that's done, the frame's good to go, and I know how the part's cleaned, then I'll put them on. So this is the detailing stage, whoop, it's kind of loud, of cleaning the frame. And this thing's going to be one awesome bike for somebody just getting the road riding. So I'm excited to get this all cleaned up and ready for the next owner. Well, thank you for spending time with me. Until next time, from the garage.